بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. طلابي الأعزاء طلاب الصف الأول الثانوي، أهلا بكم في شرح الوحدة الخامسة من A Glimpse of Revelation Listen to مع فضيلة الصدق Truthfulness. أولا كلمة الصدق يعني Truthfulness، متبادل mutual، توافق conformity، قيمة أخلاقية moral value، خارجي outer، داخلي inner، شر wickedness، نية intention، الوعظ preaching، حجر الزاوية cornerstone، مستقيم upright، نقطة الانطلاق springboard، أعمال فاضلة virtuous deeds، يحسن better، البر righteousness، يرفع من شأن elevate، جدير بالثناء praiseworthy، الجنة paradise، نار جهنم hellfire، يكذب tell lies، موافقة consent، يزرع cultivate، يغرس implant، يعكس reflect، أساس foundation، احترام esteem، يؤكد emphasize، يلتزم ب abide by، يؤكد assert، معيار standard، يصنف categorize، منافق hypocrite، رب العالمين exalted Lord of the worlds.
All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're exploring a concept that our source material presents as the very bedrock of a moral life, truthfulness. We're going to look at what it really means, why it matters so much, and how it shapes not just us as individuals, but our entire society.
So right off the bat, our source hits us with this massive question. It's not just asking if truthfulness is a good thing, but if it's the foundation of all other virtues. That's the huge idea we're going to be unpacking together. And here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with why truthfulness is a social demand. Then we'll get into a very specific definition of it, explore the benefits, see how it becomes a habit, and finally look at why it's considered the ultimate standard of character. So first up, a foundation of virtue. But notice the subtitle, a social demand. This frames the whole discussion in a really interesting way. It's telling us that truthfulness isn't just a private, personal thing. It's absolutely essential for society to even function.
Now check out the language on this slide. Cornerstone and springboard. That's powerful stuff. According to the source, truthfulness isn't just another brick in the wall of a good character. Nope. It's the very first one you lay down, the one that everything else is built on, and the one that launches you into doing good things. Without it, the whole structure is just going to fall apart.
Okay, so what is truthfulness really? Our source gives us a very specific definition. And let me tell you, it goes way deeper than just not telling lies. It's a much more holistic idea.
Wow, right? This definition is all about total alignment. Are your outward actions actually matching your inner intentions? Do your words reflect what you truly believe? And maybe the most important one, do you actually practice what you preach? It's really a call for complete integrity, where there's absolutely no gap between who you are on the inside and how you show up in the world.
To really drive home the importance of this, the source includes this quote from the Quran. This frames truthfulness not as a friendly suggestion, but as a divine command. It's an active instruction to be among the truthful, which really highlights its huge spiritual significance.
So what are the actual results of living this way? This next section lays out the consequences, and it presents two very, very distinct paths that lead to two very different destinations.
So on one path, our source points to these really clear benefits. If you're truthful, people trust you, they respect you, and your words actually carry weight. But notice that parallel benefit there at the end. It also elevates you spiritually. This means truthfulness is presented as having rewards both here in this world and in the next.
And this slide, well, it puts the stakes in the starkest terms possible. This comes directly from a hadith, a saying of the Prophet Muhammad. Just look at that progression. Truthfulness leads to righteousness, which in turn leads to paradise. But falsehood? It leads to wickedness, which leads straight to hellfire.
The crucial point here is that a single choice is part of a much bigger chain of events that defines your ultimate destiny.
Now, all of this might seem like a really high bar to reach, but the source makes a very important point. This isn't something you're just born with. Truthfulness is a skill you have to develop, a habit you form over time. I think this is a really helpful idea. You know, just like any other skill, honesty needs practice. The text suggests that both telling the truth and telling lies are learned behaviors. You aren't inherently a truthful person or a liar. You become one through conscious, repeated choices until it's just second nature.
So how do you actually build this habit? The source lays out a pretty clear process. It starts with just understanding the difference. Then comes the active practice of choosing the truth, over and over again. You cultivate that through persistence until it becomes effortless, and eventually it's just reflected in every single part of your life.
And this brings us to our final section, where the source elevates truthfulness to the highest possible position as the ultimate measure of a person's entire character.
I mean, just let that sink in for a second. The source is arguing that the final standard for judging a person isn't their wealth, their status, or their power, it's their truthfulness. It's presented as the ultimate litmus test of who you really are.
And there it is. The source presents a stark, black and white choice. In this final judgment, you are one or the other, truthful or a hypocrite. This just highlights the absolute, non-negotiable importance placed on this virtue. There is no middle ground. So we end up right back where we started, with a question for all of us. If we take this framework seriously, that truthfulness is the cornerstone of virtue and the ultimate standard, it forces us to look at our own lives. How do our small daily actions, our words, and our intentions measure up against this profound standard? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.